Well, on. All righty. Good morning, everybody. We are so excited to kind of kick off this next part of the Kinship Caregiver Education Series. My name is Sheila Weaver. I'm a program manager with the Idaho Caregiver Alliance for the Family Caregiver Navigator Project. This is a project that's personally near and dear to the heart of so many people at the Idaho Caregiver Alliance, including myself. I was raised by my grandparents in Mountain Home, Idaho, and if there is anything you remotely like about me at all, it's probably because of my grandparents. So I just so this project that we've been trying to pull off for a while now. We're just so excited to have the opportunity to reach out and really connect with with kinship caregivers. We've heard a lot of asks for this particular topic, and so we're really excited to get going on it. And with that, I will pass it off to Michelle Bash. She's a licensed clinical social worker and an expert in this field. And I'll let Michelle tell you a little more about herself and get moving.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. Well, I think you're pretty cool. So, your grandparents did a very good job. So welcome. Good morning, everyone. As Sheila said, I'm a clinical social worker. I became a TBRI, trust-based relational intervention practitioner in 2018. I know it's a mouthful. That's why they have it TBRI. So just from a round of hands, you can do it because we're on virtual, there's going to be some different ways we're going to be communicating with each other. So if anyone is not familiar, you have a place where you can do different emojis, and you can do like a clapping and a heart. But if folks could just let me know how many know about, yes, thank you, Sheila, demonstrating with the clap of hands, how many have heard of TBRI before? I'll give you guys all a chance. Okay, nice. Oh, I like this. Oh, someone did something fancy there. Okay, so we're going to do a brief introduction of TBRI, but throughout this training series, we're going to be going deeper on different topics that are important. Let me see what else is important to know. So you are being recorded. This is being recorded, and it's going to be available afterwards for folks to be able to access the training. That being said, there are going to be moments we're going to be asking for your feedback in session. So just be aware that it is going to be recorded. There will be moments where you're going to get to go into smaller groups. Don't get nervous. Part of that is so that you have a chance to talk with other kinship providers. And that's part of the beauty of this training is it's not just going to be me sitting here explaining everything. You're going to get to also meet other people who are doing the heart work. That's HEART, work of being a kinship provider from across the state of Idaho. That being said, the other thing is we're going to be utilizing chat a lot as well. So that because of the fact we only have 2 hours, I'm packing a lot of information in that time, but I also want to make sure you guys have enough time to chat and meet each other. One of the things that I have learned over my many years of doing this is that one of the things that a lot of families feel is isolated and feeling like they're doing it alone. And we want to make sure that you're not alone in this, and that every time that we meet for the training, you're not only learning some really great information that you can use in your life and with your parenting, but that you're also making connections with other folks. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. We will definitely have time to do some group discussions, but Sheila is going to be keeping track of that. When I start the presentation, I'm not going to be able to see it. So, if any questions right now that we need to know, the only thing that I ask is that if you could turn on your video so that if I can see, like Till I'm waking up. Barry and Jackie, I see you. And I hello, and I see some faces. If I see a face, it helps me because then I can go, okay, you're getting it, or oh, let's double check. So if you could be off video, I mean on video, so I can see your face, that would be great. The other thing is just make sure you're on mute, so that we don't have extra dialogue going on during the session. The thing I would say also is take care of yourself. I have my water. Does everybody have their water? Okay. Hmm. I also I'm not going to eat it while I talk, I promise, but I have something like a little snack pack. You guys make sure you have these things. We're going to practice what we're talking about while we're doing training. And it's going to be like that every time that we're together. So just take care of yourself. If you need to use the restroom, go take care of yourself. We're all adults here. Well, at least we pretend like we are, right? Okay, well, let me go ahead. I should also mention that I worked with older youth in foster care for 13 years. Before that, I worked at Hayes Shelter Home with kids there for a year, and then now I work as a clinical counselor, and I work with like the youngest patient I have is age 6, and I work all the way up to I think my oldest patient is 78. So I have a wide range, but I use TBRI in everything that I do. Um, and one of the things that my heart really wanted to do was this. So I started my own LLC last year, Bass Consultation and Services, and that's where Sheila came in and asked if I would be participate in this. So this is something different than what my day job is, because I wanted to reach more families, and I wanted to reach and help more families and kids in across the state of Idaho. I'll talk more about it later, but I'm also a co-host of the Resilient Parenting podcast, which is through the Idaho Children's Trust Fund. I have a couple of some of my special guests that have come on that are actually on this, like of Charlie and Sheila. If you want to hear more about her story and about the work that she's doing, it's there. But we'll talk more about that. But just wanted to give this is my heart. This is my heart's work, and so I'm really happy to be with you. Okay, so I'm gonna share. Make sure the share sound. I'm saying it all out loud so I don't do it. Can you all see that? Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Perfect. I don't know what I just did. Hold on. I'm going to try that again because I thought I was making y'all smaller and it made my part go away, which is not helpful. Okay, so is it the right one, Sheila? Okay. Okay, so we just went through introductions. So let's go ahead and let's go to the next one. So a quick note, everything that I'm using today is actually from Karen Purvis Institute of Child Development. And so that's why you had limited handouts, but it really needs to be used within the context of this training. As a licensed TBRI practitioner, I'm able to use it. A lot of times I use my own when I'm doing trainings, but since I'm doing specifically TBRI, I wanted to use their training today. So let's talk a little bit about the goals for today's training. So laying the foundation for insight, we did that in our first training. And if you missed it, you're in luck, because there is the recording is out there. We did the first session was during the conference, and we did the trauma informed parenting workshop. Sheila, did you want to share that link for folks if they missed it? Okay, so in that we laid the foundation of trauma-informed parenting.
It's
We're
in
going to
the
go
chat
through
now.
it.
Sorry, in the chat. So you're good
Okay.
to go. Yep.
Okay, so it's in the chat if you missed it or you want to review it again. So because of time, I would go back and I would watch that. We will go through a little bit today, but really the focus is going to be on TBRI. So we'll do a quick review of trauma in the brain, and then a basic understanding of the TBRI framework, and then we're going to just try to enhance some of that understanding today. So TBRI again stands for trust-based relational intervention, and it is a holistic intervention that has been developed over the past decade. It looks at the whole child. So we look at the brain, we look at the body, the sensory, the thoughts, the beliefs, and we also look at it's an approach in caregiving that is respectful, responsive to trauma, and attachment based. We will talk in much more detail at a later time about attachment and why it's so important. One thing that I will also say about TBRI is that it's caregiver led. So it's really important that you really try it on. It may be a little different than what maybe you parented your own children, or maybe how you were parented. But there is a lot of evidence that talks about why it's so important, especially kids. They use kids from hard places. It's just any kid that's experienced any type of trauma. And trauma, we'll go over it more, like all the different traumas, what that means. Um, again, it's founded in research. TBR helps a child or youth return to a natural developmental trajectory, and so there are certain things that maybe a child missed early on, and so this is a way to try to bring some of that back regardless of their age, and we'll go through that. Who uses TBR? I'm like, who doesn't? Like I used it as soon as I knew about it. I was using it with my own kids, and I use it for myself because so much of it just makes sense to me. Like it's just but you can use it in home schools. I just did a couple weeks ago, I did a 3-hour training on trauma informed approaches in schools. Because, especially if you think about like the pandemic, that impacted students and kids. I mean, think about how the impact was on you, but imagine trying to learn during that time and how that's changed. So, absolutely, this works in all of that residential facilities, orphanages. I wish actually TBRI was, as someone who worked at Hay Shelter Home, I would love all of the facilities to have more of a trauma-informed lens, like TBRI. And then it's designed for youth with children of all ages. You'll notice a lot of it may seem like it's for younger kids, but you just adapt it a little bit for teenagers. And then of course all risk levels. So let's watch this video. Let me go back. Okay.
Does your relationship with your child feel like a series of never-ending struggles?
Can you hear that okay?
Emotional meltdowns?
I would turn it up a little bit.
Tantrums?
Go pick it up, please.
Or uncontrollable?
Let me, I think I turned the volume down on my, hold on.
Yeah, I can hear it just a little quiet, so you're probably fine.
All right, it's gonna be loud. Okay, so this is all fun, right? Figuring this stuff out. Okay, I'm gonna go back.
Rage?
Okay, here
Does your relationship with your child feel like a series of never-ending struggles? Emotional meltdowns? Tantrums?
Go pick it up, please.
Or uncontrollable rage?
I'm gonna cut you with a sharp knife.
How does a little kid even have this much
in him, and this much anger.
And it's not just anger. How can a child so young feel so much fear, pain, and sadness?
As horrible as this sounds for a 6-year-old, he almost started losing the will to live.
There's no escape. There's times of feeling of total hopelessness, absolute helplessness, and a total loss of, I know I need to be doing something, but I have no idea what it is.
It's clearly not the life you envisioned when you opened your heart and home to a child.
For parents who are trying to parent a child who's a master at controlling, a master at manipulation, it's hell on earth. It's worse than chaos.
Parents and professionals from around the world have found solutions here at the Institute of Child Development at Texas Christian University.
Because when you disarm fear,
Developmental psychologists Dr. Karen Purvis and Dr. David Cross offer a unique intervention for high-risk, vulnerable children. A trust-based model of parenting built on more than a decade of research and personal experience.
what do you need? What's going on with you? Can you tell me?
The program has met great success with children of all ages in the homes of foster and adoptive parents, residential treatment centers, and orphanages. Leaders in child welfare and juvenile justice systems have sought out their training. And now, in this video, Drs. Purvis and Cross will share their program with you.
Okay, now, let's start with you.
Teaching concepts
I love to lower myself into a child's field of vision.
and step-by-step skills.
All right, sweetie, you've got two choices. My tone is a little more authoritative. My volume is a little louder.
To put you and your child on a healing path.
Do you want to give Mama goodbye loving before she goes? I love you. Have fun today, okay? All right. Many parents that I speak to are at a place they say, I'm just too tired to keep trying. I don't even think I like this child. I may love them, but I definitely don't like them. That's okay. Forgive yourself for that. Let yourself have your feelings.
We know through our experiences that children who come from hard places, who've been traumatized, institutionalized, and so on, when they're adopted, even if they're in loving, caring homes, they still have significant problems.
Most of our kids have been afraid so long they don't even realize they're afraid anymore. It's just the state of their existence.
A child who is afraid is very often angry. A child who's sad may lash out. For adults, lots of times it doesn't make sense. We think, well, if they're sad, why don't they act sad? But that's not the way it is with children lots of times.
Drs. Purvis and Cross have coined the phrase children from hard places to describe children who have experienced a trauma that disrupted their early development.
In my many years of life, I've never seen the kind of loss and hardship that these kids have had. Most of our children have had ruptured dreams, ruptured relationships, ruptured hope, and for most of them, ruptured trust. Virtually all children who become available to foster or adopt are from hard places.
Harm can begin even before birth. Exposure to drugs, alcohol, poor diet, even a stressful pregnancy can all leave indelible scars on the developing brain.
A child who had a stressful pregnancy may be a more anxious, more fearful, more frightened child, or they may be a more aggressive child. And then early hospitalization where maybe a baby's in ICU and they can't be held or touched. That child is from a hard place.
Neglect and abuse can severely impair development, particularly during critical growth stages in early childhood.
Right. Oh, deep breath. Can you relate to this video? Maybe? Okay. Well, we're going to start with a check-in, and we're going to be asking some questions. What is going well in your current journey with your child? Or, if not parenting yet, in what ways do you feel prepared to parent? What is tricky in your journey with your children? Or, if not parenting, what fears do you have regarding parenting? And then what is your greatest need in the time we have together today? So what is going well currently in your journey? And this is when we need our notebooks. I want you to be able to jot some things down. You may think you can remember it all, but I guarantee, part of it, is to start writing some things down to be able to start really focusing your energy on what you need. And so if you have paper, you can write some of it down. You don't have to write like full sentences. You can just jot down like certain keywords. And so I'll just give you a minute to do that, and then we're gonna meet into small groups to kind of go through that a little bit. Share what you feel comfortable sharing. So again, what is going well? Because sometimes we always focus on like what's not going well, right? But there's a lot of wonderful things that are happening, and I want you to acknowledge that too. And then what is tricky in your current journey with your children? And then what is your greatest need in the time that we have together today? And I didn't know, Sheila, were you able to put that in the chat? So what is going well in your current journey with your child? What is tricky? And then what is your greatest need in your time that we have together today? And we may not be able to get to everything that you want to get to today, but I guarantee over the training sessions that we have together, we will definitely get to it. So make sure that you put those in. Okay. And we're going to go ahead. You don't have to have it all written down. But let's go ahead. We're going to have you in groups of 3, so it's not super like awkward just with like another person. Maybe groups of 3. What I ask is that everyone has a chance to like share, and if you feel like you're talking a lot, maybe open it up so that the other folks can talk, or if you're not talking, try, we're going to practice being brave and in a smaller group be able to share. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay, so we'll give you 5 minutes. It's not very much time, but we're going to be getting into small groups again. So I want to make sure we answer this and share with each other, and then we're going to have some other things we're going to talk about. So Sheila, whenever you're ready to move them into smaller
Oh,
groups.
gotcha. Okay, sorry. I was like, we're still doing this. Sorry about that. Okay, then let me get some folks assigned into groups then. Sorry about that.
No, you are fine. You're fine.
Let's
That just gives them time to
see.
like figure out.
Yep. Okay. I was
With
trying
the
to get everyone.
understanding that after everyone meets in a group, we'll ask for folks, if you feel comfortable, you can share in the chat. Maybe some things that came up for you so that we know definitely what you hope to learn from today too, or your greatest needs. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Sheila,
trying to get everybody moved around. Okay, I think I have everybody. Hold on, they're being a little finicky this morning, so let me just make sure I've got everybody kind of there where I need to be. Then we'll get everyone moved around. So, okay, hold on just a second. Let's see here. Okay, we are good to go. Everyone should be getting a room right now.
so just click join.
You should just be able to hit join. Yep. Tina, do you need tech support? Oh, there you go. Okay.
Should we stop the recording?
Yeah, thank you. Let's do that.
Good to know. Is
And folks are
everybody back?
still coming back. Now, they've still got about, oh, here they are. They're coming back. Yeah. They have up to 60 seconds and it'll boot them all back in. So I think the boot just happened. So we are back.
We wanted to make sure that y'all knew that when you were in your small groups, it was not being recorded. We actually turn, and that's part of the reason why we have this small group so that you can speak openly without having to worry about that. So, and we heard loud and clear that you didn't have enough time. Did everybody feel like that? That you didn't have enough time to discuss this? Or how was it?
Thumbs up,
Okay.
thumbs down, yeah.
Yeah. How about we start, you start writing some reflections. What is going well in your current journey? Or since some of you didn't, how about this? You guys hold on to all that, but what is the greatest need that you have in this time together? Put that in so that we have time for that. Because you guys are going to go back into small groups again in just a minute to talk about something else. So what is your greatest need in the time we have together? Let's just focus on that question.
I'm seeing in the chat community and knowledge. I'm seeing the more questions in a small toolbox. We're drinking from a fire hose. And we heard that too in the comments from the last session that people just we're looking for anything we can get, but we need to have some kind of like manageable chunks that we can, like a little resource guide or something we can go back to. So that's good for us to know. We're hearing that community building, learning from others, that kind of stuff. All of the above, which is just so meaningful to me because I think a lot of us we hear from a lot of people, a lot of kinship caregivers and folks at the Caregiver Alliance, and we often hear that, am I the only one doing this in North Idaho? Am I the only one out here in Pocatello? Like, is this just me out here? And there's kinship caregivers all over the state. About
Yeah.
10,000 kids are in some kind of kinship care situation in Idaho. So you're certainly not alone and you're in good company and you're doing tremendous work. So, I'm really glad to hear about that community building piece. But anyway, back to Michelle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, the way that I have it planned for you guys is to have little chunks that we can go deeper for the information. But, and then, you're getting resources as you go. I would hold on to those. And then power of the notebook is going to be really important because you need to like write down key things that that speak to you. You're going to get different information. Not everything is going to be like, yeah, I don't know, that doesn't sound like something I would like, but take down the things that you think would work for your kids. And that's how you build your toolkit. I could put it all together in like a little thing. I mean, there's things you're going to have, and it is a toolkit, but it can feel like a water hose, because it's so much. So just take a couple of things and just try them on. As you go. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, so where do I begin? This is going to be another group thing. We're gonna ask you to talk about what caregiving strategies have you used in the past that have worked well, or what did your parents do that you think worked well? What strategies did not work well? Or maybe something your parents did that didn't work well. So those two things, strategies that, think about things that you're doing currently that you think are working pretty well, or that your parents did that you felt like, yeah, I want to continue that, or what are some strategies that didn't work well. And it's going to have to be like shorter discussions about it, more matter of fact, to get through the conversation. This is telling me that maybe we can have like times before the session starts where people can like chat and everything more. But we don't, just because of the time, we just don't have it for this time. So just if you could share quickly so everyone has a chance, because we're still going to only have about 5 minutes. And we'll have more time later. Okay.
In the chat, what is working well, or what good things did your parents do? What isn't working well? So,
Yeah.
and we'll go back to group for about 5 minutes, and I'll put it in the chat there as well. All righty.
Okay, we'll see you in 5 minutes. Hey. So curious. Thumbs up, emoji. How was that?
I'm seeing
Thumbs
some
up. I'm seeing
thumbs.
some
Oh,
thumbs up.
I'm seeing some
Okay.
hearts. Loving it. Okay. Oh, big thumbs. Okay, love it.
Awesome. Did you, just out of curiosity, did you feel like you weren't alone in this parenting thing? Yeah. Anything stand out to you? You can put it in the chat. Anything stand out to you? So Sheila and I are trying to brainstorm how we can maybe have some kind of extra thing for you guys to be able to chat. We'll figure it out and let you know. But due to the amount of time, and wanting to give you all the information, I'll continue to layer that in so that you have that time, but we may try to see if we can have some other time for free chatting, maybe coffee talk or tea talk, whatever you like. Okay. I don't know why all of a sudden I was like, I'm coffee talk from New York. Okay.
And
So
Michelle,
was
we're
there,
getting some good stuff in the chat, Michelle. So
okay, that's what I
yeah.
was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, we're getting, let's see here. Mary had a great comment being the calm in the storm. And just by verbalizing it, it sounds like it's really helping hone in on what people are concerned about, and just support. And so again, just really, I think just feeling that people aren't alone can be a tremendous help for folks. So
Yay. Is there a way for you, Sheila, to save all of the information that they're sharing so we can
yeah.
get to it later?
Mhm.
Awesome. It's so weird to be in this position and not be able to see all of it. But I don't want to touch anything, so I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going. You guys are all amazing, and I love that. We will continue to do that. Moving forward. So we already went through this. Due to time, we're going to go ahead and just skip through this. But, again, in the video, I talked about the different risks that are involved. And then we're going to skip that. You may feel like, how can I catch up? Especially if there's things that are going on that you're like, I don't even know. But the most important thing to understand is that with the investment from you, hope and healing is possible for every child. And based on the truth that relationships are built on a solid foundation, TBRI shows caregivers techniques to build connection, empower children, and correct behavior in challenging situations. So there is ways. Okay, and what I like about TBRI is it talks about, again, the whole child. So the most important skills children need in order to catch up come in the form of connecting and empowering principles. So we're going to go through the TBRI principles, but I want you to just remember that the two most important ones are connecting and empowering. Put that in your notebook. So let's talk about the TBRI. Now, you may have copied it or maybe not, but I would reference the TBRI principles, strategies, and practice handout that was in your email. It goes through the different principles. There are 3. It is empowering. Well, it's connecting, empowering, and correcting. And we're going to go through each principle briefly. But again, with this training series, we're going to touch on things in more detail and giving you even more tools for your toolbox. So if you have that reference, that is something you're going to want in your toolbox because it lays everything out for you. So
It's in the
let's go
chat now
ahead.
too. So
Oh, nice. Thank you. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what is your strength. And so what I mean by that is when you think of, so let me go back really quick. So connecting is like connecting with the child, mindful strategies, engagement, empowering is like helping like create the safety in the home, their own physiologically, like are they doing okay? The connecting also has to do with yourself. We'll go through that. And then correcting is like, well, we know what correcting is. When you think about how much time you spend on different things, connecting, empowering, and then correcting your child, how much time do you think you spend on average doing this. And this is a self-reflection. No shame. I'm telling you right now, no shame. And if I haven't mentioned it before, anytime you're with me, you are in a no shame zone. So if you're starting to feel any of it, kick that sucker out. We don't have time for that. We know what we know, right? And we're doing the best we can. Okay, so just think, on average, I spend how much time connecting with the children in my home? How much time do I spend empowering them? And then how much time do I spend correcting them? In the chat, just name out of the 3 principles which one you spend the most time doing. Well, I clear my throat. How's it looking, Sheila? You're on mute. Sheila, you're on mute.
I'm fiddly if I always turn mute, and then I do this. Empowering, correcting, connecting, more about empowering. With a little 1-year-old, it's every day. We have some little kiddos here, so a lot of redirecting, I would think, with a little kiddo. Connecting, yeah, so thinking about that, correcting, connecting, empowering, yeah, those seem to be the themes.
Okay, so let's look at a lot of us, especially if we have kids with big behaviors. You may feel like you correct a lot more, but you'd like to empower or connect, but you're constantly like having to, no, let's don't do that. Let's do this. It sounds like there's a lot of an even amount. It didn't sound like a lot of people were thinking they were correcting a lot more than the others, but you can
I'm not hearing
see.
that, yeah.
Okay, so you can see though, if you're spending more time correcting, how it's unstable, because when you look at the importance in TBRI, connecting is where we should spend most of our time, and then empowering, and then correcting. When I've done this training, and I've done it multiple times, I spend the majority of my time in connecting and empowering, because I have found that if you connect and empower, you will do less correcting. And so if you're right now feeling like, yeah, I spend a lot of my time correcting, or like, or you feel like there's a lot of behaviors that are stressing you out, and or that you wish that you could connect in a better way, this is why TBRI is different and so important. So you guys actually surprised me, because normally the answer would be we spend a lot of time correcting. So let's go ahead and we will move on then to what we mean by connecting. So connecting principles is mindfulness strategies and engagement strategies. Okay. So when children come from difficult backgrounds, they have most likely experienced relationship-based traumas and need help learning to trust and connect with others. The TBRI mindfulness strategies are designed to encourage caregivers to examine their own relationship histories and how their histories influence what they bring to their relationships with the children in their care. So one of the things that we have to recognize is, one, we all have a past. We are not a clean slate. We all were parented, right? We have certain things. At a later time, in 2 modules or 2 sessions, we're going to be talking a lot about attachment. We're not going to bring it up as much here. We will go over it briefly, but attachment is very important. Our own attachment, and then what we bring to our interactions with the kids that we're working with, that we love and we're taking care of. The other thing is understanding that what do we bring to every interaction? So have you ever been around someone and you can just feel like something's off with them and it has an impact on you? Yes, I have to see nods of heads or something, or shaking of heads. Okay.
Yeah.
It's important to understand that because we as well bring that to our interactions with kids. So our like if we had a bad day or we're not taking care of ourselves, how we show up with the kids will have a direct impact on how they react to us. So connecting starts with being mindful of like how we're doing, understanding where we're at, and then being able to also catch things small, but starting with self. So it's going to be really important. That is going to be one of the strategies. And so later on, we'll talk about attachment. We're also going to talk about self-care. We have to be able to understand what's going on with us, to be able to then be able to maybe change our approach or even our energy with interactions. The other thing is engagement strategies. So behavioral matching. You saw in the one video with Karen Purvis, she like was down at their level. You saw like the nurturing touch. I remember the one where she was like holding him and like was rocking him. He wasn't a baby, but in that moment he needed to be treated like one. He needed that care. Warm eyes, her voice quality, the playful engagement, all of that. So how we connect is really important. If we come in and we like our facial expressions are yeah, are maybe look scary to a child, or our tone or our body language, all of that can have impact. So thinking about this, what characteristics do you find pleasant when interacting with others? I like to use a lot of self so that we can then be empathetic to the kids and what they're experiencing. So you can even put it in the chat. What are some characteristics that you find pleasant when interacting with others? What are some things that they do that you appreciate? So I'll give you an example. Eye contact. Have you ever been like with someone who's just like, or maybe like too intense? Is there anything being written, Sheila?
Yep, I'm seeing kindness, validation. I always think about validation. I appreciate when folks are kind of like flexible and have a sense of humor about things. Like rigidity kind of freaks me out. I think
Okay.
so. Yeah, but yeah, kindness, validation are what I'm seeing in the chat.
Okay. So a smile, the
Yeah.
tone. Think about your tone when you're talking. Are they listening? How many of you are on your phones? Or how many, like, have you been in a conversation with someone and they're on their phone or they're distracted and you feel like, are you even listening to me? Do you even like care about like our interaction right now? Body posture, depending on where they're at, to like bring yourself down to their level, or even to like be more parallel. So it's not like if they're sitting in a chair, you're going to want to sit. Have you ever had it where you're sitting and someone's standing over you? It can be very intimidating. So just being aware of what you bring and how you can connect in a different way. And we'll talk more about that. But that is the connecting principles. Now, attachment. When we talk about attachment specifically, again, we're going to go through this again at a later time. But attachment cycle is think about a baby, okay? When a baby expresses a need, they cry, right? This is called their voice. So this is what they're learning in the beginning. They're learning that their voice will help them get their need. For example, infant cries, caregiver responds to the child's need warmly and consistently, comforts the child, changes a diaper lovingly. She has given the child voice. Let the child know that he has been heard, his needs matter, and he is understood. And from this innermost layer of the attachment cycle comes attachment behaviors, which is trust, that a safe adult will meet their needs, a sense of self-worth, feeling worthy of love and care, and then self-efficacy, or the feeling of having a successful voice. So recognizing So, oh, you know, and you think about a baby over and over again, they get that reinforced, reinforced, reinforced. Well, if attachment is damaged for different reasons, the child can learn, oh, it isn't safe. My voice doesn't matter. Or sometimes the caregiver comes and maybe they're not warm and helpful, or maybe they don't come when I cry, so I cry less. Maybe I cry more and then I start to cry less. So many different things happen, and we'll go through that more at a later time. But that's why it's so important that now we try as much as we can to connect, to say yes when we can, to have their voice heard, so that we can kind of make up for maybe some places in the attachment cycle that is damaged. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Okay. When the early environment does not foster this healthy pattern, the foundation for secure attachment, behavioral regulation, and mental health is disrupted. Children learn that asking for what they need is of no use. They have no voice. They learn survival behaviors such as aggression, manipulation, and control for getting their needs met. With TBRI, we are able to replace survival strategies by giving voice in their place. So if you are noticing, I said this before and I'll say it again. Behavior is language. They are expressing a need, but they're doing it through behavior. So if we can show them that their voice actually does matter and we're listening and we're going to connect with them and listen, you're giving them voice back, and that's why you're going to see a decrease in the behaviors, because they're not going to need to use all those strategies that maybe worked before for survival. Okay. So very briefly, think of, for your kids, it has different ages here, but think about the kids that you have, the ages that you have. Think of examples of needs that they may have. So it's examples of needs an infant might have versus examples of needs an older child in your care might have. So thinking about some of the things that you're experiencing through behaviors, or just like times in their life that maybe that attachment, their voice wasn't heard and their needs weren't met. What are some things now that you're seeing that are some needs that they have? And you can put that in the chat. And then Sheila, if you could just read some of them off to me, that would be great.
I am here for you, Michelle. Let's see
Thank you.
here.
Such a good team.
Yeah, need for attention is the one that I'm hearing. So connection. So that probably could relate to either category, connection, infant or older child, connection or
Yeah.
attention.
Attention, and what is attention? Attention is wanting to be connected, wanting to be seen, heard, and valued. That's what attention is. It's like, hey, don't forget about me. And some of the kids and some of the caregivers are pulling from an empty bucket of, like, it may feel like I can't give this kid enough attention, like he always needs more. And we'll talk about that, but it's like, if there's deficits within that bond and that connection and all of that, they're going to need more reinforcement, they're going to need more validation, they're going to need more attention. And so really, when you think about your toolbox and things that you can really focus on, one of the things is finding moments to connect. Put your phone down, connect, invite them in, get to their level. If they want to talk to you, turn the TV down, turn it off, whatever it is. Finding opportunities to connect. For teenagers, I always say, find what they're interested in and connect with them. Have them, explain what they're doing. If it's a game, sit with them and have them try to, like, share what they like about it. There's plenty more. What are some things, if you think about just thinking about, like, your own presence, and then what we're talking about with, like, connection, what are some things that you think that you could do? You can put it in the chat.
And why folks are putting that in there, we're hearing about safety, feeling supported, stability, so for sure. But what can we do? Next is the next question.
Yeah. I will say, while you guys are writing that, one of the things that is the magic place is the car to drive, to have that connection. For some kids, you know, we talk about eye contact. For some kids, that can be very overwhelming, but being able to be in a car where you're parallel to each other and you're, you know, maybe the music's off or maybe you let them choose the music, right? Letting them have some voice in what they want to listen to. Maybe like having a discussion. I've found, and a lot of people have expressed this as well, that that's where you can get a lot of conversation out of the kids. To but be present and listening and asking more questions to get to know them better. Um, are there anything on there, Sheila?
That we have going so far. Let's see here. Spending time with them, being present, not distracted. Husband has alone time with him. Same here. Taking the 2 seconds now. It being fully present. So I think people are in this crew are really dialed into like being present, being there, being stable,
Yeah.
really connecting, and spending that time.
Yeah. So, you know, like even an example would be like if you're making something, ask if they want to come and help. I know my littles, they're, you know, adults now, but they would help me cook, or we would bake together, and then or we would do a project together, or we would go for a walk. I mean, think about ways that you can bring them in and have them not just watch but be a part of it. And any opportunity to give them voice would be really important. So then let's move to empowering, which is the second principle. And so we're going to be looking, I'm just going to go right straight into this. So we're looking at, so physiologically, we're looking at like empowering of the body. So think about yourself. Has there been a time where you didn't get anything to eat for a bit and you were hangry? So thinking about like for your kids, how often do they drink water? That's why I wanted you guys to have a snack and some water. We're practicing what we're talking about, people. Um, we're looking at every 2 hours. Sensory needs. We're going to talk about that briefly, but this is going to be some areas empowering that we're going to talk about it next session. And then we're going to get some hands-on things that you'll get to practice, and some more things to help. But really looking at when was the last time they had something to drink, had something to eat, when was the last time they had movement. There's a lot of different things. And again, I would reference your principle, strategies, and practice handout because it has some different things there. So really quick, you know, we talked about this about thinking about their behavior before thinking of like they're trying to be intentionally misbehaving. When was the last time? Is this hunger or thirst? And we know that it can happen to us, so it definitely can happen to littles even more. So, sensory needs. So when I'm talking about sensory, children's sensory needs and preferences also influence their behaviors. So, children from hard places who have not had early nurturing touch or who experienced early painful touch, such as experiencing hospitalizations as an infant or a young child, are at risk for sensory deficits. So even children who came from stressful pregnancies or who were born prematurely, whose systems were not fully developed at birth, fall into this category. So children with sensory deficits may engage in a variety of defensive behaviors. And I'm just going to list some of this and see if any of it sounds like your kids. Refuses to eat certain foods, refuses to wear certain articles of clothing or clothing with tags, does not like hugs and kisses, wipes off kisses, refuses to get hands dirty and or craves getting hands dirty, dislikes loud noises, covers ears, dislikes bright lights, covers eyes, dislikes strong smells or odors, and prefers to initiate contact rather than receive it from others. Does that sound at all familiar of any of your kids? And then some children with sensory deficits are sensory seekers. And I'll just say this, we are all seekers and avoiders. We are all seekers and avoiders. I don't care. I like natural light. I only have this light on so I can read my notes. But if I had a choice, I would have natural light. I don't like a lot of noise, like outside noise. Like if people were trying to talk, I would not be able to think as clearly because I have sensory to auditory noise and all of that. So think about your own things, okay? And then picture a kid trying to go through life, trying to stay regulated, trying to, and having different things that are out of their control in their environments, okay? So, and we will again talk more about this at a later time. That's why I'm going to just go through this quickly. Let's go now into the environment. Okay, so we're going to skip that. So there's scaffolding, daily rituals, and transitions. So this is like really about your kids, your environment. So ways help caregivers use the environment to teach children self-regulation skills, just like their bodies, which we just talked about. Children's environments, what's going on around them influences the way they behave. Strategies like creating a daily bedtime or wake up ritual with your children, helping them learn new skills by scaffolding, or helping them along at the level they need can do wonders for their regulation and ability to learn. And so looking at like ways that you can add rituals that they have, like can expect it. Scaffolding, does everybody understand scaffolding? So an example would be clean your room. I'll just say that as an easy one, clean your room. For a lot of kids, that's like, I don't even know what you mean. Clean my room. What is that? So like even saying step one, clean your room. Let me use a different example. Brush your teeth. Step one, get your toothbrush and your toothpaste and put it on the brush. Step two, put it in the water. Step three, brush your teeth like this for however long. It's like taking it step by step for them to be able to know what's expected of them. Clean your room is a bit, in my mind, like scaffolding, because I don't just say clean your room. I say start with pick up all your clothes and put it in the hamper. Next, pick up all the garbage that you find, put it in the garbage. So it's like little steps for them to build confidence instead of like just like one giant thing that they have to try to figure out, which can be overwhelming. Sometimes I think we assume that kids know because they've seen you do it. So I worked with a teenager who the conflict was around washing dishes. Well, I said, so you need to start with the every step of washing dishes, because sometimes he'd use soap, sometimes he wouldn't use soap. Sometimes he'd rinse it, sometimes he wouldn't rinse it. So you can see how the scaffolding could be really helpful. So she had it all written out for him for his success. And also, guess what helped? It helped their relationship because she wasn't like getting on him and correcting him and getting frustrated with him. So looking at that, are there ways that you can add scaffolding? So another thing that's really important is transitions. So transitions that may not seem, okay, so here's an example really quick. Have you ever been sitting at your desk concentrating on a project and all of a sudden the fire alarm went off? You probably immediately stopped your work, grabbed your keys, exited the building, and remained outside until the proper authorities told you it was safe to re-enter. Once you get back to your desk, your concentration level was mostly likely not the same as it was before the fire alarm went off. Have you all experienced something like that? Okay, so now imagine this scenario. A child, Lindsay, is sitting and coloring at the kitchen table. Suddenly, she hears her caregiver say, "Put your crayons away, put your shoes on, and get in the car. We have to go to the post office, the grocery store, and pick up the dry cleaning." Although the plan for the day was probably clear, organized, and prepared ahead of time, in the caregiver's head, it may come as a surprise to Lindsay, who is in the middle of finishing her picture. Transitions that may not seem abrupt to caregivers are often just that to children. Managing these daily transitions with techniques like time notices and visible schedules can make the process smoother for the entire family. So can you see like those two, how they compare to each other? And how just like having a transition of like, hey, 5 more minutes. We even did it for you guys when you were in your chats. 5 more minutes, 4 more minutes, 2 more minutes to prepare you. It's the same for kids. So being able to transition, even to have like a daily schedule of maybe, so like we have a family calendar that lets people know this is what's happening today. Yeah, things change sometimes, but overall, to have certain things that they can expect can really help create that safety in their environment. How does that sound for everyone?
I actually, Michelle, I actually like that because what we do here is we do 5, 3, and 1 because we figured out for our guys, those odd numbers seem to work better than doing a countdown by the even. And don't ask me why. I don't care. It works.
Hey, if it works, you know, that's perfect. So, I am speaking of time, it is 11:22 and we still need to get through correcting. So I'm going to go through this really quick. Again, this is a brief overview. In the other sessions, we'll go deeper with all of these different things, these principles, specifically connecting and empowering. So TBRI correcting principles are proactive and responsive. Okay, so remember when we talked about how kids in the early, babies and on might not have a voice. So we need to try to figure out ways to give them their voice back for them to be able to trust themselves, to be able to build their confidence, and also to help them be regulated. The goal in TBRI is to keep the momentum going. So we are not trying to stop, but continue to keep moving forward. So we have choices, for instance. Choices is a way where the parent is still in charge, but it helps the children practice and learn good decision-making skills. So let me get over here. They get to practice an example would be, would you like to wear your train pajamas or your animal pajamas? Would you like to have carrots or green beans as your dinner vegetable? In this way, we give voice to the child and mentor their capacity to make good choices. But there's still, it's still things that they, like they get to choose their pajamas. So finding ways that you can have them have opportunities to be able to make choices is going to be really important. Compromises. So many of us have had the experience of being at a restaurant and asking to substitute one side dish for another because we didn't want it. Or it's much the same way when teaching children to ask me, I have a compromise. Do you see, like, so it's not that you're still the caregiver, you're still in charge, but you're giving them a voice to say, hey, can I have a compromise? And it could be like a negotiation of like, I know I have 5 minutes left. I'm almost done with this part of the game. Can I ask for 5 more minutes to complete this game and then I'll be done? You can choose then to negotiate that with them. And it keeps the behavior moving forward again. So by saying yes, many caregivers might feel like they're giving in. However, they are teaching the important social skill of using their words to ask for what they want and need and building trust by honoring their children's voices. In TBRI, we say the more you can say yes, the better, because, a lot of kids did not get their voice heard. And the other thing is, a lot of kids may feel very powerless, like they don't have a voice. And so giving them that voice is a way for them to, instead of giving their voice through behaviors, because that's how it's going to end up showing up. If they're not getting their needs met, it's going to show up in behaviors. Can you think of examples of a compromise? Anything written in?
Not yet, but I really do like those kind of just I think in the States we think about, like, well, we can't tell kids yes to everything, so what we can't so I think this is just so important to think about, like, how we can kind of teach kiddos these skills so that they can compromise down the road rather than
Yeah.
being rigid. And yeah, so I'm kind of thinking about, I think.
I think
And
of Michelle.
can we just due to time, is it possible? Okay, go ahead. But we need to, if you can write everything in the chat too, just because I know we're not going to be able to get everyone to be able to share. But go ahead, Charlie, go ahead.
The one that I think about when I'm looking at a compromise is when a child acts out and then you say, would you like to try that again with a good voice? Because they reacted and we react, but giving them a compromise, I don't want to go get in the car. Well, we need to go to the grocery store. How about this? Do you want to make a compromise? Maybe I can leave you home with my husband.
Yeah. So that's a great compromise. And sorry, someone came to the door, and so the dogs all said hello. The other thing that you just mentioned that we haven't talked about yet is do-overs. Do-overs is a way to give opportunity for kids to try again. And we as the adults can also model that, because I guarantee you we are going to step in it. So we're going to have moments where maybe we were a little too harsh, or maybe we weren't listening. And we can say, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening like I should have listened. Can I try that again? And put the phone down and say, I'm listening. The same with kids. It's part of that motor memory of doing it the correct way. So giving them opportunities for that. But yeah, choices and compromises are meant to keep behavior on track and moving forward. Sharing appropriate levels of power with them allows children to practice making meaningful decisions while the caregiver still is in charge of the situation. And you think about how many times, and it's different. I remember growing up and my parents were like, it's my way or the highway. If you don't like it, there's the door. It was just the way I wasn't taught. I wasn't taught to compromise. I wasn't taught to have a voice. And, I definitely learned to listen to them. But then what happened when I was an adult? I didn't know how to speak for myself, how to have difficult conversations. And so, when you think about this, these are things that they need for the rest of their lives. And when we're working with kids specifically who haven't had a voice, it's even more important that we give them that opportunity. Okay, so some of this I'm going to have to skip ahead for, and I'll add it to another time. But there's, we just talked about sharing power. There's the ideal response, which is immediate, direct, efficient, and action-based. And what that means is responding within 3 seconds if you can. Oops, I'm on the wrong slide. Direct. So you use your engagement strategies and your connecting strategies. Action-based. is absorbing the knowledge, asking him like to do it again, those kinds of things, and leveled up the behavior and not the children. We will work more on this at another time. But one thing to keep in mind is that the most important thing is to be playful. Playful engagement is always level 1. Would you like to try it again with respect? Are you asking or you telling? My ears cannot hear such words. All said in a playful tone. How many of you feel pretty confident in being able to be playful with your kids?
I'm seeing some hands up, some nods, so that feels good. So that's awesome. Oh, I'm seeing some stuff in the chat show up now.
Okay. So what are some things that you have said with your kids?
I'm seeing that like redo space. I do, yeah, kind of that kind of stuff. So yeah, in the chat.
Okay.
With choices. Yeah, people like the redo. Or yeah, I keep thinking about that.
The redo is so good. Honestly, sorry I was going all over the place. I panicked. Here, I'm going to do a redo for all of you. So I, in my head, thought we had to be done by 11:30, and we have a half hour. So I was stressing, but we have plenty of time now because I was worried. I was like, we didn't even have time. How did I mess up the time so poorly? So I'd like to redo that we were okay. I'm going to calm down and take a sip of my water. Everybody take a sip with me.
And then the item is calling your name when they need to pick up something. So yeah.
Calling your name when they need. Say that again.
The item is calling your name when they need to pick up something. That's what Charlie was saying. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's look at, there was a video I was gonna have you watch, but I really want to make sure we have time at the end for discussion. So I'm gonna skip it. But so we're gonna go through the different levels. So the levels of response. So we have the ideal response, which we just talked about, which is immediate, direct, efficient, action-based, and leveled at the behavior, not the child. And then we have levels of response. So the first is like in the beginning, you want to try to catch it small and you want to try to diffuse it before it gets bigger. That's why playful engagement is so good. It's like, what? Are you I would say a grumposaurus or, like, oh my gosh, okay, that tone. You want to try that again? However you can do it with your kids that works for you and their age and all of that is going to be really helpful. But let's say they go into where that didn't do the trick. Then you're going to go into structured engagement, which is level 2. You're going to pause the situation and get on the child's level. Use a structured voice, offer 2 choices. Here we go. We have the choices. Behavioral redos to help children feel successful. So this may be where they need a little more guidance, okay? And then you return to playful engagement as soon as possible. The goal is correcting is not punishment. I remember as a kid being punished. The goal is not punishment. It is learning, teaching. We are trying to teach. At the same time we are trying to teach, we are also trying to build connection. So it is important that you can completely get them to do what you want, but at what cost? If you're having a power struggle, well, no one wins a power struggle, I'll just tell you right now. And the only one who can actually get out of a power struggle is the adult. You can get your way, but at what cost? It will hurt relationship. And for kids that don't have voice or it hasn't been consistently heard, it can really do a lot to their own trust with you, the more that you can give them voice and opportunities for redos. And then this is the thing. Once it's done, it's done. We're not going to like hash it out and bring it up. How many of us like to be all of our past mistakes brought up in conversations? Oh, you learn from it, you move on. And here's the other thing. It's not if it happens, it's when it happens, because these are behaviors that they have learned for survival. So they're gonna step in it. You're gonna have to redirect. Do it again. You're gonna have to do it again until they can start building new approaches. So then let's go to level 3, calming engagement. This is when the behavior has escalated. The child needs help regulating. When they are dysregulated, this is not the time for lecture. This is not the time for understanding. They are no longer in their thinking brain. And there's a very good chance you may not be completely there either. So regulate, regulate, regulate. I talked about this in the first one. I'll just do this really quick. This is your brain. This is the thinking cognitive part. When you're regulated, your brain looks like this. When you flip your lid, this is what we talk about in TBRI, it goes up. Your emotional part of your brain's in charge now. Your thinking is offline. So until you can regulate and get them back to here, your words mean nothing. You gotta regulate. So time in with adults. Sometimes kids need to like have some space, but sometimes they need a time in. They need that connection. I've even had it where like I sit next to a kid, that parallel, and just be like, I'm here. I'm here. What do you need? You just, and then like, I'll do my own breathing because we have to be regulated as well. And then being able to do a redo if the child is able. And then what do we return to? Playful engagement as soon as possible. Kids don't want you mad at them. How many times have you gotten in like a disagreement and then they're like still it kind of feels weird around each other? Because you're like, they don't know, like, do they still love me? It may seem silly to you, like, of course I love you. Why wouldn't I love you? This is part of, but kids don't know that. They need to be reassured. I mean, some adults don't know that, where they need that reassurance. So the more you can be playful and back at it, connecting with them, most important. And then the level 4, this is protected. This is when they're like way out of control. You need to like make sure that they're safe, but also that you're safe. Some things, again, there's like professional training. I say for me, if like everything's safe, I will give myself enough space, but I'll do that parallel because this pose versus this is less intimidating. This is less intimidating. There's different things that you can do. And really, it's like they're so far dysregulated that they need to calm down. But again, what does it say? Return to playful engagement as soon as possible. And then when you think about it, again, when it's over, it's over. Stay connected to the child at all times. The goal is always to return to playful engagement. And why is that important? I'd like you to write that in the chat. Why is it important to stay playful when you can, as soon as you can, and try to connect to the child at all times? Anything written? Up, you're on.
Things are
You're on.
popping up, Michelle. Yeah. Let's see
Okay.
here. They are reestablishing that positive connection, end on a positive note, back to safety. Because the child's going to learn faster in a fun environment, refreshes their mindset. You want to connect and love. Love that. So good
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. And can you see why connecting and recognizing what you bring to every situation is so important? Because if you come in like, I'm the boss, why are you talking that way to me? You're not coming from a place of connection, of mindfulness, of like teaching, right? And it's easy to do. It's easy to do. This, I get it. For most of us, this is completely different. This is a completely different approach to the way we were parented. Would you agree with that? Yeah. So looking at this, go ahead and put in the chat. What do you think is going to be the most challenging part of this for you?
I'm seeing some agreement right now, so I'll wait for other things to come in.
Okay.
Self-regulating when triggered. Continue to play after I'm upset when I lose my cool.
Yeah. You know what I'm hearing? You guys are human. We're gonna get dysregulated. And then when you think about your past and what's happened in your life, we all have different things that are our own triggers, our own things that will come up. That's why it's so important that we spend time recognizing that so that we know how, what we're bringing and what we need. Absolutely. Okay, so just a review. We did connecting, mindfulness, and then the way, like knowing what we bring to the table, right? And then the interactions. We'll talk more about attachment and like our own kind of what we bring. Also like how to connect with our tone, with like our facial expressions, um, with the kids. We talked about empowering, how to empower the body, you know, when was the last time they had something to eat, drink? Again, I don't know if I think I gave you the newer one, but this is the empowering. I mean, the principles, it goes through each section. It's a really good tool to have. But looking at not only the body, empowering the body, but also what's going on in the environment that can be adjusted to help the kids and you be the most successful. Okay, and then correcting. Again, remember that triangle. It's the very tip top. And even when we're in correcting, we're still connecting. And looking at how can we teach? How can we get back on track to keep moving forward? So I lied, Sheila. We have one more small group. I want you to go in the small group. Think about like ahas. Name one thing you're going to try on in each principle. Think about, you know, and then we're going to, well, let me see. How many do we have?
13-ish.
13-ish. Yeah. Do you feel like you have more voice when you're in a smaller group?
I'm seeing a little bit of nodding. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's do 7 minutes. And that's for the whole time. Come back. I want you guys to talk about your ahas. Name one thing you're going to try on. And then be prepared to come back and share it in the chat.
Okay. Okay, and I will put a broadcast out too, but we'll get people in groups because we're right there. So, okay. Somebody dropped off on one of the groups, so there might be a different. Anyway, we'll get it going. So I think it'll be okay.
Okay. Hey, Rich, we we love that you guys are talking so much that even when it's time to come back, it doesn't feel like you're ready to come back. Because sometimes when it's time to come back, you can click on it early. No one clicked on it early. So that's a good sign. So in the chat, we're so curious. We wanted to give you that time to talk openly with each other, but Sheila and I are like, we want to know. So give us what are some ahas or maybe some things you're going to try on? And you can just put it in the chat.
I'm watching. Oh, yeah, we're loving hearing from folks today. It's so cool. So,
Share with us. Anything coming up?
not. Oh, here we go. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going now. That do-overs really resonated with folks. Positive connections outside of hard moments really popped up for folks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
I'm getting a thumbs up on that positive connection. So I think it must be meaning something to people. So for sure.
awesome. Definitely. Especially in such a busy world. We really have to be intentional.
A huge takeaway that they got from somebody was the redos. People love it. Learning the do and don't moments. Seeing lots of thumbs ups. Very cool.
Nice. So I encourage all of you to try on some of the things that we talked about. Get a copy of, and I know Sheila's going to send everything out again just in case she lost it. Look at the different principles. I'm trying to remember everything I had in there. I feel like I had like the levels of response
Yep, you did. Mhm.
and then the principal strategies. This is all really good information for you to be able to use so you don't have to remember everything. But just one thing that I always say is it's not just the kid. This is a whole family thing. So you may have a kid that maybe seems like they're the one who needs it. Everybody needs it. So model it together, talk about it together, do a redo in front of everybody. Talk about, wow, I need some water because I'm feeling like I'm getting a little like grumpy. I'm going to go for a walk. Does anybody want to go with me? Any opportunity you have for connection to model taking care of self. And again, I hope you guys go to all of them because it's just going to continue to build. This is an overview. Well, we're going to continue to build on what we've learned. And there's going to be more opportunities for you. So some resources. This all came from Karen Purvis Institute of Child Development. We'll be able to send all that to you. This is The Connected Child, which is the book about TBRI. I also have, okay, I'm going to have to take my filter off, I think. But this is The Connected Parent, which is another good one. And then there's also the Connected Therapist, which I also really enjoy. There are lots of there's a podcast, there's different videos online, so many different things that you can access with TBRI if you want to continue to learn between our sessions. And then again, this is the Resilient Parenting Podcast. That's me and my hubby. That is the QR code. Hopefully it works for to get straight to that. And we have lots of I think we have 67 different episodes now. And they're about 20 minutes because I don't want to like be a water hose of information, just a little bit there. And then looking ahead, we're going to be talking about the brain, the body, and the window of tolerance. We're going to do things like the engine plate. How many of you have heard of the engine plate? We're going to also, perfect. We're also there's going to be some other things when we're looking at empowering, where there's going to be some things that you're going to learn that are going to be even more tools for when the energy is high and when the energy is low. And that includes you. Attachment and relationship shifts. Attachment is a huge thing. We're going to go in more detail about that. And then, of course, your relationship as kinship providers, self-care and building community. So that's going to be part of it, is going to be, again, looking at the connecting principle and taking care of self, recognizing, what you bring to the table and what you need to do to like stay as regulated as you can in a stressful situation. And then building community is like, what resources are there in, and hopefully by then y'all will like have some connection with each other, to be able to be a support. And then, of course, open forum, putting it all together. So, like, getting all your questions, any last minute things, let's just like hash it out and like get a really good, solid toolkit, that you can use. And then, if you could take 1 to 2 minutes to complete this short survey, it's, I won't know who's saying what. So please be as honest as possible. Let us know what you liked, what maybe areas that you'd like improvement, maybe some things that you want to learn more about. And did you want to talk, Sheila, about some testimonials?
Yeah, just if you are liking what you're hearing, we're always this is so interesting because we had like 50 people register for this, so I think it just shows the busyness of people and how folks people are stretched out. So I'm so glad you're here today. So yeah, if you have anything you'd like to let us know or let other people know about this, please throw it in the survey. There's a little section you can do that, and I just put it in the chat as well. So I just spelled survey wrong, but it's okay. Yeah, just the link to surveys in the chat. And yeah, and we'll certainly follow up with resources. And again, we are just thrilled to have everybody here today, and we are so excited again for the next session already. So we'll continue to send out resources, and continue to send out just whatever we can do to really support kinship caregivers. And I'm looking very forward next time, April 18th, to the brain, the body, and window of tolerance. So looking forward to seeing many of you guys back, and we might pull in a few more. So please feel free to invite your folks that you know that might want to come to this. It's still free of charge, and folks can walk in anytime. So the more the merrier.
And is there any, I know we're at time, but is there any last minute questions or anything?
All righty. Well, you know where to find us. You can always respond to that email too that everything's coming out on. And we're so pleased to see you all today. So thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Is this still recording?
Oh, it is. It will stop right now. Thank you.